Blood rock.
This is chainsaw rock and roll.
Yeah.
People won't look away, and they open up their ears too. And the music of this band is every bit as important and as intense as the effects that we're trying to do. You can't look away, and you can't stop from hearing it. You may not like the music, but you're damn gonna hear it, especially as loud as it is.
It's called vampire rock, gothic rock, or death rock. Whatever you call it, your kids love it, and today we'll meet some of the vampire rockers and the kids who like them, and the parents who say, no way, not my child, don't go away. We visited a gothic rock club recently to get a first-hand look at what goes on. Take a look. Throughout the show, you will see more and more of this visit to this club. And as you can see, most of the kids dress in black, which is part of the Gothic membership or tradition. Many of the boys wear dresses and makeup and hairstyles that are quite theatrical and colorful. But these underground Gothic clubs are growing fast and sprouting up all over the country. Is it good music, good taste, or is it poor taste? We'll find out by meeting a couple of the groups like Mr. Dookie Fly Swatter and the Haunted Garage. Also, please welcome vampire Sean Brennan with the London After Midnight. And last, please welcome a real vampire, Vlad from the Dark Theater. Gothic rock, as this is the title of it. This is vampire rock and roll. Gentlemen, why? Why do we even have to have this kind of music?
Because it's like any other form of music. If it's heavy metal, if it's Madonna, if it's Michael Jackson, I mean pop, rock, rap, hip house, I mean it should be appreciated like any other form of music. It has just as much integrity and quality as any of those, and a lot more, I feel.
When you say it has just as much integrity and quality, you know, I've seen some of the videos. As a matter of fact, I saw a video that someone showed me right before the show began of a woman with some sort of a sexual aid strapped around her waist having sex on the stage, and then I find out that there are anyone from ages 11 to 18 to 25 to 40 can attend your concerts. Is this what we want to call integrity?
Well, I mean, different groups, I'm not really qualified to respond to that because we don't do that. I mean, we don't use phallic symbols or, you know, blood and gore, although we have at times, but most of it is the music, and...
Yeah, all the bands are different.
The tape you were referring to was from a Duchess de Sade show, and that was a 21 and over show. Yeah.
Well, we got some applause here.
Yeah.
But even for 21 and older, I'm sure that a lot of clubs around the country, there are 21 and older signs on the door, but people a lot younger get in there, Doogie. I mean...
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. But, you know, there's only so far a responsibility can go. If I know I'm doing an all-ages club, I've had to readjust myself because I found out, like, younger people are coming to see the shows, then I tone it down on, like, some of the fleshiness, because we, myself and, like, the Go-Go girls who play with us don't wear a lot of clothes, and part of it's practical reasons. When you're like rolling around spaghetti and you're covered in blood and goo and you're spraying things and you're dealing with liquids, it's best not to wear a lot of clothes or just rubber clothing so you can jump right in the shower and get washed right off.
I'm looking at, wait, you can't miss them. Your teeth, are they embedded?
They can come out. They can come out, but they are functional. Want to bite?
No, no,
okay,
thank you.
Okay.
No, no.
And
Vlad.
by the way, I am the human chia pet, and you got some good topsoil there. I mean, we could do something.
Yeah, a little bit of that stuff. And if I could grow that, I think I'll stay this way. Sorry.
One thing I would say about what Juki just said was, number one, you should know where your children are going, and you should know what they're doing. And if you don't want them to see, nudes or blood and gore, then you should be able to handle that. You should have, a good rapport with your children.
It's no different than cable TV. It's like on regular, like 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, cable TV. You can see Joan Rivers, an established person saying 4-letter words, doing her blue routine from Las Vegas. It's really no different. I mean, this can go on and on. One of the things I get really ticked off about is that what we do, rock and roll, is not treated in the same light as other mediums. It's not treated the same way as comedians. It's not treated the same way as literature. It's not treated the same way as movies. It's like a lot of these things we're doing are being done in all these areas, but because it's rock and roll, because kids kind of gravitate to it, we get hit on a lot, but kids gravitate to that stuff too. I mean, the Police Academy movies were really popular, and with young people. And the big gag in the Police Academy movie was a guy being catapulted straight into a horse's rectum. I mean, and everyone saw this. This is on cable everywhere, so it's like, it's not that different.
Yes, sir.
Hi. How long has this music been around? How many years?
Gothic rock.
Depending on what group you're talking to, Gothic's been around for a long time.
Oh, yeah. My band, I've been doing various forms of it for about 7 years, but like shock rock, horror rock started like in the 50s with Screaming Jay Hawkins and some other people like that. We're still around today.
Is this more or less, should we all look at it like 365 days of Halloween and that's what this is all about? Or do some of you take this seriously? Like, 'cause there are a lot of people who are, I assume, are followers of this kind of music who came out to be in the audience with us. I'll start with you. Let me ask you a question. Do you listen to this all the time, and do you dress like this all the time?
Not every day, but I love London After Midnight. I enjoy their music.
So you would go out dressed like this to see them?
Right. It sets the mood for me. It's not just put on just to set the mood, but
what kind of a mood do you need to have in this?
Well, I like to dress this way, but not every day. It, to me, just fulfills the mood.
All right, now joining us right now is Mr. Jim Bieber, National Director of the Young Americans for Freedom, and he's got several members of his organization here. Jim, you see these kind of acts, what do you think? As a matter of fact, you reviewed one of the tapes that I reviewed before the show. What do you think about these kinds of acts?
So there are a couple of obvious points. The first point is these guys don't have any talent. And the easiest way to...
We rehearse, we spend more time rehearsing than we do even thinking about the show. I mean, it's staff judgment, man.
It's your opinion.
Man, I've been around 38 years. You judge me, see 5 minutes, say I got no talent, man.
The way to cover up not having any talent is with 2 pounds of makeup.
That's different than saying you don't like it. Saying no talent. I mean, man, what an insult. If you don't dig it, that's one thing, but just coming right off the bat and insulting people, and you're supposed to influence people and say, my way is right, and start off right at the bat, no talent. I mean, man, what's that for the conservative? No wonder people don't like it.
That's right. You're not going to get anywhere.
Did I come on and say, nice suit, CNR?
Okay, but let's let Jim get his point out, because you're saying this is a lack of talent. But Jim, don't you appreciate this as an art form?
No, it's not art. Since the 60s, art has been expanded to anything and everything you make it. Right now, if I pick my nose, wipe it on a canvas, send it off to the National Endowment of Arts, I could get a grant. Okay, of course, anything and everything is art, but the fact is, you take what you watch these guys, take off the teeth, hear what they're singing, and it's garbage.
Why don't you listen to the lyrics?
Okay.
Why don't you read some lyrics?
Now get back to what these guys are, okay? They're profiteers, okay?
Hey, what are you? What do you mean by profiteer? What do you mean by profiteer?
I mean that these guys are marketing a very select music targeted at troubled youngsters. They don't want to expand. It is directed at emotionally disturbed young people, and there's nothing socially redeemable about it. They probably don't even think there's anything good about it, but they know that they can make a buck by targeting dark, macabre music.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of bucks to make.
Wait, yeah.
As I was pulling into the studio today in my Lamborghini, you know, I thought about that. God, you know, it's fantastic the amount of money we make.
We hope to make a living at this. That's right. Like any other entertainer, like any other businessman, yes,
Look,
we do hope to make a living at this. But we keep on doing it, even though we are starving, because we like to do this. We're having fun doing this. This is a matter of personal taste. I am not out to corrupt anybody. If I thought I was seriously damaging anybody, and I pray about this, and I think about this, I try to be responsible, you know, I would not do it if I really thought it was harming. I'm having some fun. It's a rock and roll horror circus for us. Our fans usually don't even dress up. They just wear white so we can hose them with the blood cannons.
Hose them with blood cannons.
We have people looking just like you coming to see our show.
Oh, well, let's take a break here for a second, gentlemen. Let's find out if it's really art or if it's just a bunch of people dressed up 365 days a year in Halloween. We'll find it out when we come back, because we'll meet a Gothic rock fan and her mother, and we'll see what she has to say about it. We'll be back right after this.
Like alcohol or drugs or anything else. I have to be here. I don't know what'll happen.
We're talking about vampires of Gothic rock, and that right there. Dude, what happened to your face?
I went to the green room to get some cheddar, and I guess they had it booby trapped. Everywhere I go, I'm always getting into trouble.
Okay, well, does that permanently damage your face?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, just looking at the woman that we just saw.
I don't want to go to the hospital.
Just looking at the woman we just saw right there. Yeah. She said, this is an addiction. I'm addicted to this stuff. I can't stop. If I stop, I don't know what's going to happen. That's someone who comes and watches your music. What do you say to people like that, or to parents of young ladies who feel that their kids are addicted to this?
I would say that maybe they should talk to them, get a balance. I mean, addiction, you can be addicted to anything. I mean, that's a matter of taste, too.
And
it's
people,
like,
people
you know.
in the Gothic scene are very passionate about what they believe in. So, I mean, they may kind of, you know, say, yeah, I've got to do this. It's just it's a lifestyle. It's like, it's art, you know? This is what you believe in.
It's just like wearing jammers and a baseball cap on backwards. So if we're going to jump on this, we might as well go shoot all the skateboarders going down Santa Monica Boulevard.
Yeah,
I remember skateboarders.
I remember punk rock in the late 70s and early 80s, and we had something to say back then. You guys are just glam and stupidity. You have nothing of any value to offer.
And what album is it you heard?
Isn't this kind of like the same thing that parents have said all along? This generation hates the other generation's music. I mean, that's kind of the
yeah, because they don't understand it. These guys, they don't understand what the hell I'm talking about.
You had something to say, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I just want to know if this man's an advocate of Jesse Helms.
Yeah, I support Jesse Helms.
Yeah, I mean...
And Pat Buchanan. Well, an excellent, upright, decent man.
Yeah, well, I think that guy's an incredibly suppressive type of individual trying to repress art.
Well, okay, but then you find this to be art, obviously.
Actually, it is. I mean, it's a quality of communication, and obviously it has communicated to a large audience.
Okay, well, what about all the people who say this message communicates things that make children go out and kill themselves?
Nothing
people go out and commit suicide.
If a kid is disturbed enough to try to go out and to kill themselves, that's something within them. That's a parent's responsibility to try to help their kid. Not a band trying. You know, we're not counselors up here. We're a band. We're doing arts. We're doing something we believe in. We're not responsible for
we're not there.
Somebody like this is harmful to kids because he's preaching ignorance.
Yes, sir.
What I say is it's a hobby and interest. It's different club memberships. Like I belong to like a lot of different type of clubs and religions, like a whole bunch of them. And each group is really good, you know, unless it's just like, you know, start yelling at other different groups. You know, it's just enjoy your group and get into it and stuff. And don't, you know, if you're not going to...
Wait. You can say that, but this is a group that does things like, you know, shoot fake blood out on people and
it's
all
like the Plasmatics in the 70s. I see a lot of the early punk rock. I see a lot of early 80s, and I see a combination of, you know, heavy metal and different bands, if you just look at the styles.
Montel, let me make a point. These guys are comparable. If I had the morals and values that they did, and I wanted to sell beer.
Wait,
how do you know? Shut up.
Wait a minute, Doogie, let him finish what he's saying. Go ahead, Jim.
I got you.
And I wanted to form a beer company, okay? And I marketed my beer towards recovering alcoholics. And the slogan of my beer company was, your life's in the gutter, you're worthless, you're a bum, buy Jim's beer, take a swig. They don't create troubled young people.
At least this guy's been there, right?
They don't create troubled young people, but they sustain and they feed them with this morbid garbage, and they're keeping people who are young and troubled. I mean, look around, you don't see a lot of happy faces in the audience here. You see a lot of young, emotionally distraught people, and these guys
That's
are
right, everyone's
feeding off
depressed.
them.
Take out your straight razors now and slit your wrists, kids. That's all we're here for.
These guys are vultures feeding off the misery of young people, and that's all they are.
Let me ask you something. Is this considered a cult?
Where's the youngsters?
Doogie, hang on a second.
Would you consider this as a cult?
No, not at all. Not any more than I would consider,
This
like,
is
you
a
know.
cult. And let me ask you something. How do your parents feel about this?
My mom completely supports me. I mean, you know, I used to stay up late at night watching chiller theater with my mom, and she thinks it's, like, really no different, stuff like that.
Mostly, you have young children here, you're a younger generation. You don't have an older
We
set
get
of
all
people.
ages at our show.
Yeah, we do too. We have people in their 50s that come to our shows.
But
It is primarily young, but we do get all ages.
You have all ages.
A lot of times. A lot of times. I mean, the majority of people who go to rock concerts are young people. We get people like gray-haired people. We get people in wheelchairs. We get people who want to have a good time. We're outrageous. We're like Monty Python.
Yes, sir.
There is nothing wrong with anything these people are doing. Like they say, it's an art form, freedom of expression, all that. This guy knows nothing. He doesn't open his mind to anything, and that's why he's up here right now. He has not an open mind to anything.
That's absolutely untrue. Montel, let me tell you something a little bit about our organization, Young Americans for Freedom. Very conservative socially and conservative as well.
Freedom?
Congressman Dana Rohrabacher, our former state chairman, one of the most conservative members in the entire House, he's a big fan of Sammy Hagar. Great rock and roller. He even contributes to his campaign. I like rock and roll. Rock and roll is great.
I can't drive
These guys
55. Yeah.
These guys aren't rock and roll.
Remember that
They're
kid that's okay to
parasites
speed.
upon rock and roll. They're there to put on makeup.
But Jim, wait a second.
Satanism.
Jim, hold on a second. But when you were younger, you know, your parents probably said that the music that you listened to was bad. But I can remember, you know, they almost banned Elvis off of television there for a while. They wouldn't show him. Isn't this just another form of music?
No.
Why? You haven't answered that yet.
Difference between Elvis and these clowns is that Elvis wasn't promoting putting needles in your chest, self-mutilation.
No, he was putting drugs down his throat.
Yeah.
Right. Elvis died on the toilet, kids.
Elvis was stoned to the gills on Valium when President Nixon gave him the Good Citizen Drug Award. It's documented.
But Elvis
said it himself.
Elvis was bad with drugs. Great, Elvis was bad with
You
drugs.
look at him, so bloated. I am sober. I am completely sober.
Loogie, the difference is he didn't go out there and say, put a tattoo on your forehead, put needles in your chest. You're promoting this to young people.
Okay, hang on a second,
No,
Jim.
Elvis
Wait, so
said,
let's
go
find out
into
what
this bedroom
another
with
young
my
person
special
thinks.
two-way mirror so I can watch you get undressed.
What was that, Vlad? Wait, hold on a second. Yes, sir.
First of all, I find it a contradiction of terms when you say you are for freedom and yet you are so oppressive. Second of all, in response to what you said before, let me talk, okay? What you said before about these guys making profiteers, more evangelists get on TV and beg for money, millions of dollars.
All right, we'll talk a little bit more about this when we come back. We'll be back right after this.
Because my friends are here, and my parents kicked me out of my house, and I have nowhere to go. That's true. And why do I dress like this? Well, because it's interesting, and that's the reason I got pretty much kicked out of my house, because I dress like this.
We're talking about vampires and gothic rock, and that's another example. This is at a club where people go to listen to this kind of music, and 2 in a row said, you know, I got kicked out of my house, this is wrong. I mean, if they're following you all, and Vlad, in your case, you really believe that you are a vampire. You went on the show before.
I'm a blood drinker. It's different.
Okay, you're a blood drinker, which is, I think now every parent in America just went, well, I'm glad he's only a blood drinker. I want my daughter to go out and see him and find out why.
No, but we don't advocate that, and the people that you have from the clubs, I mean, we don't know why they, you know, get kicked out of their house. Maybe they're drug addicts. Maybe they have gone out and, you know, booted some autos.
Maybe their parents are creeps you don't understand.
That's
they
right.
don't have open minds. They're like, you know, just conservative.
You gotta admit, it's kind of tough for a mother to be sitting at home and then all of a sudden,
like this.
Wait, yeah, and you come walking in the front door.
If you love somebody, why should it matter what they look like?
That's right.
They're not hurting anybody. They're not doing anything wrong.
But you don't know that, especially when you find out that there are people in certain clubs that
you don't know that.
blood.
You don't know that they are. So, you know, let them live their life.
And
don't
it's
worry
not
about
in certain clubs. I myself don't go to nightclubs except when I work. It's my work. I'm a businessman. I mean, I do a lot of things. I have a lot of different, you know, I've got some bad suits just like this guy sitting in my closet at home. So.
All right, but now we have a mother and a daughter who attends these kind of clubs, and Mom, you think it's okay for her to do this, right?
Well, it makes me a little bit nervous, but I keep track of it. I drop her off. I pick her up. I get phone numbers.
Phone numbers of who? Of her friends?
Of her friends.
Does your mom give you the luxury to just hang out and dress like this if you choose to?
Yeah, she doesn't really care. Well, she cared, but she lets me.
She lets you, and it's okay as long as Mom. I mean, what do you try to ask her? Who are your friends? Who are you hanging around with?
Friends, I meet them, and a lot of these kids that got kicked out, they come to my house, and they're very sweet kids from what I see, and I feel very bad that the parents just kick them out because they don't like the way they look.
So every mom in America who has a daughter who comes home, you look like are you afraid to be on this show?
No.
Okay, well, I mean, your knees are shaking, but I mean, every mom who's got a daughter who's coming home dressed like this should just say, it's okay, it's a phase.
Well, I know it would make her really upset if I said it was a phase, so I'm not going to say that.
What do you mean it's a shame, Jim?
It's a shame to put some restrictions on your children. I can't, the problem isn't with these guys, it's with the parents of these youngsters. And it's through 30 years of a promotion in this government of liberal, secular, humanist policies, kicking God out of school is what it promotes and creates young people that will gravitate towards this type of trash.
Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, I see a problem when you try to define what art is. That really bothers me.
I'm not defining it. I'm just saying this is...
Well, you said at the very beginning here that you didn't think that this was art or a form of expression. I have a problem with that. Second question is here, or point is, where do you get your blood?
What?
Where do you get blood?
Well, I don't think that's the point of the discussion today.
Okay, just curious.
I mean,
and I also, third point I'd like to make is, it seems like a majority of the people we've seen in the videos have been trying to escape from something or trying to get away from some type of pain. And if that's all that this is, then I find it as a problem. If it's a form of art, that I agree with. But if it's only a form of escape for people,
maybe
and it's not treating the problem or finding a solution to this problem, then I agree. Then it is a problem that we all need to address.
Escapism. Go ahead.
Maybe it is a form of escape. You're escaping from, you know, somebody who's a tyrant who's trying to control you, like somebody like this, you know, who's like trying to force their opinion on you and saying that what you're doing is worthless and trash. That's you know.
Come on, people. Russia just got out from this kind of you know, this
I'm not saying ban you guys. Just recognize yourself for what you are.
You guys stop arguing. We are.
Just recognize what you are.
I'm fine with myself. What am I?
I was a prodigy. I've been a musician since I was 5 years old.
Hold on a second. Wait, Vlad. Wait. This gentleman has a question. Yes, sir.
This is, I mean, not a negative question if you want to think it that way, but I grew up in the 80s, and when I was in high school, I got involved with punk rock and all that, and I was pretty much different. And because of the behavior that I displayed and the way I dressed, I understand fully with the kids that come on the monitor. But what had happened was that I had distanced myself. I got so involved in the scene that I ended up not even spending 5 years with my family. I missed my grandmother's funeral, my grandfather's.
But now you're suit and tie now. Jump to 1992 and tell me what the problem is with these people.
There's no problem I see with these people. I see what they say. I really believe in what he says as far as if they try to be responsible as far as young people. If adults make this decision, that's fine with them. I'm in Young Americans for Freedom. Well, we are for freedom, but we know that America is bleeding to death morally. America is bleeding to death as far as hope for the kids. And I don't
do you
look
think
at them,
this is making America bleed, these kind of acts?
This is an expression of their hurt and hopelessness. That's all I think.
What do you say to that, Doogie?
I would say that you would have to say the same thing to Vincent Price, to Stephen King, to Monty Python, to Richard Pryor, to a lot of people who enjoy over-the-top.
Absolutely.
I mean, we are really. One of the things you're omitting is like
that I watched when I was a little kid,
right?
And I went through my little macabre stage. But this is different. This is drinking blood.
What's so different about it, Jim?
This is drinking blood. This is mutilating your body. This is sticking needles in your chest.
Yeah, but how's that dragging in a whole? And that's incredible.
This is dragging in a whole generation of young kids and playing off their misery, asking them for money at the door, saying, "Come in here, we'll feed your misery."
No, come on.
Okay, well then wait a second. Wait right there then, Doogie. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I don't have any problem with the music, but I'm a little concerned that these kids aren't going to grow up into responsible adults. I mean, how many of you have mortgages, car payments, children?
Wait, we've got a hold it. Stay right there. She said high school diplomas, mortgages, stand up. Do you have a mortgage? Are you a responsible adult now?
I consider myself a responsible adult. I go to school full-time and I work part-time.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
19. You go to college?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to say that I enjoy London After Midnight very much. My friend and I, we go to their shows all the time, and it's a wonderful experience. We're there to relax, unwind from work and everything, and it's great. I wish.
But, okay, now you get into the part where they stick needles through their chest and through their face. And
See, our bands are very different up here.
Yeah.
You've got an extreme.
They just drink blood. Oh.
No,
you don't even know. You've never seen us. You can't talk about
piercing on a couple of occasions.
You've done live piercing.
On a couple of
occasions.
It's
called live piercing, which you run a rod under skin in people's chests.
Right.
This kind
but that's been done for thousands of years. You know, I mean, what about how many women here have pierced ears?
Mornings, I try and explain people about it, and it's basically I let people know I'm not in any pain either. I'm not hurting myself.
What about
in fact,
the people
I had to learn to use like acupuncture.
Loogie, what about
Doogie. Hey, Mr. Beaver!
people try to imitate you?
Did you hear what I said?
We'll be right back in a minute. We'll be back right after this. We're still talking about vampires and gothic rock. And Doogie, when we introduced you, two young ladies escorted you onto the stage, and they're part of your band, is that correct?
Right. They're our female counterparts.
Well, why don't you introduce them for us?
This is the Gargar Girls, Mrs. Barr and Carol.
The Gore Girls.
Right. And the antithesis of the empty-headed bimbos you see on a lot of the MTV-type videos.
Yeah, snakes and things coming in and out of people's bodies. And slit necks. Ladies, I'm saying ladies, can you dress this way? I mean, there are a lot of mothers out there right now saying, if my daughter walked in with this outfit on, I would break her neck and give her a real reason to bleed.
It's only for 6 hours a night, the nights the shows that we play. Other than that, we're in sweats. And our hair's in a bun.
And this is a lot more than I usually wear.
Which brings us to a point, because Jim and I both looked at a video that you did, and in the video you had on several different things. Some appendages and some other things. And you really kind of performed a sex act on the stage. You know, any place else in the country, this would be shut down.
It wasn't real.
What do you mean it wasn't real?
It wasn't a real act. I don't actually do anything.
Jim, you watched the same video that I watched, did you not?
It may not have been real sex, but it was simulated sex to the point where you could not tell the difference from the audience.
Absolutely.
And that's the point.
Absolutely, that is the point.
Okay, that's the point. You can't tell the difference from the audience.
That was in Duchess Decide, which is a different band.
That's right.
Oh, it's a different band than your band.
My band is his band.
All right, but I mean, still, do you think that that's what we have to go to entertain people?
I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I think that sex is a natural thing and that we're much too hung up on it in this country.
All right, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a question for him.
For Jim?
It's Young Americans for Freedom. Right. What kind of freedom do you teach if they can't listen to the kind of music they want to? Do you teach, like, book burnings, too, or something?
No, absolutely not. Let me give you an example. Young Americans for Freedom believes in conservative values. We don't advocate censorship. we advocate limited government. And if you're at home right now and you're looking at this motley crew of young people out here, and you're thinking, where did this country go wrong to produce these sad young people? It's through 30 years, it's through 30 years of welfare being dumped on people.
If you were
Wait, Jim, you're starting to sound now like Bush and Buchanan.
Jim,
welfare has nothing to do with this. Let's get to the point.
It absolutely does.
Let's get to the point, because welfare, what does welfare have to do with this?
The point is that
if
the American...
you were on a movie set and you saw these girls and
half a second, will you let me speak and have an open mind and let me speak? The American people have a tax burden that could choke a horse. Mothers are being forced to go off to work, put their kids in daycare centers. Their kids are being shoved off to daycare centers, being put in public schools where there's no God, where we're having this relativism taught due to liberal policies. And if it weren't for people like Pat Buchanan and Ronald Reagan towing the line and bringing the station back, these guys would be running the streets.
Is that why the country's in such good shape right now? Because of wonderful people like Ronald Reagan?
Oh, all right, just a second. Yes, sir.
Want to make money off miserable young people.
Oh,
good.
I think
want to make money off happy young people.
I've got the same right to do that. I've written regular movies, just act. I mean, this is all part of my experience from theater, my experience from comedy, my experience. And like, you know, our shows are hysterical. People are not taking our group seriously. They are rolling in the aisles. I mean, they really, nobody thinks our fans that really love us don't think we're Satanists. They don't think we're morally corruptible people. I mean, they're there to have a good time.
All right, let's find out what some people who aren't your fans think. Yes, sir.
I don't think that Jim's trying to say that nobody can listen to what they want. I think he's saying that it is something that people should be aware of. It's very obvious that the three of you disagree politically with more than just whether or not your music is bad. Is this music supposed to be a political statement? And if so, I just thought you might want to know as a political consultant that this is not the way to be taken seriously if you have anything political in mind.
But you think you should be taken seriously? Does it have to be a political statement? Can't this just be entertainment?
It could be entertainment, but if you look at the way that all three of them and most of the audience reacts on every issue that's been brought up, whether it's evangelism, whether it's sex, whether it's censorship, it's always very much a leftist point of view.
Maybe we're just Democrats.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, is this a political statement, or is it supposed to be a political statement? What are you trying to say in the music? You said listen to the lyrics.
We're having fun. Haunted Garage deals with a lot of things. It deals with some flippant things. It deals with satire. It deals with the dark side of things, the macabre things, but usually in a fun way. I mean, usually no different than you go to see a Stephen King movie.
Yes, sir.
I happen to work with a lot of young people and have spoken to a lot of high school teenagers, and one of the things that really troubles me about the guys up there, and guys, I can appreciate your own point of view. The trouble is, I think that we're out of touch here, because I think there's a lot of teenagers that gravitate towards that because, why? Because you are the fix for the moment. You are. But the problem with teenagers nowadays is the lack of hope in their lives. And hang on, the biggest thing, and don't answer the question because I don't want to embarrass you, because I spent a lot of times counseling teenagers that have done, both in this country and in Canada, that have committed suicide or on the point of, or have overdosed or have attempted suicide, or they're into really heavy stuff. And the point of it is, they can roll in the aisles, they can laugh, they can have a lot of fun. True. Granted, that does happen. The point of it is, just like this young lady over here and the kids that you've seen in the videos, in the little clips, they go home, they're hurting. And Montel, when they put their head on the pillow, man, it's another story. And that's what I'm concerned about.
Why are they hurting?
We're going to take a break, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about it soon as we come back. We'll be back right after this. We've been talking about vampires and Gothic rock, and joining us now is Mr. Sandy Cates, a marriage counselor and family counselor and child counselor. Sandy, thank you very much for being here. You've heard all the discussion on both sides. What attracts young people to this, first off? That's the first question. The second question I have for you is, why is this so bad? Or is it bad?
Well, first of all, in terms of whether it's an art form, you know, that's a whole different story in terms of, you know, everything's art. I need to say right off the bat first that I have a harder time with this gentleman's rigidity than I do with everything else going on here. Let me just say that first. because that's as destructive as a lot of different other things. In terms of why are kids attracted to it, I think that it's important to focus in on that there's two major developmental stages that kids, adolescents really need to go through to work through to become successful adults. The first one is seeking their own identity. And that's obviously a degree of what's happening here. It involves sexuality, it involves a lot of testing, a lot of experimenting.
Okay, Sandy, then stop there. Then does experimentation then, as a parent, and I'm a parent, does that mean that I should allow my child to go to a show, come home after she's seen a guy put needles through his chest and say, oh, I think it's okay, go ahead and run needles through your chest because I want you to experiment? Or I watch a young lady strap on a large, you know, a thing and have sex with another woman on the stage, and I should say to my 13-year-old child, okay, it's okay, experiment, because I want you to find your own sexual identity? Or should I, as a parent, try to give them some sort of guidance? Because you're sitting there acting like this is all okay.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm beginning to explain why the process is happening. But in terms of that, no, I agree with actually what both groups here said, that parents do need to take control. There are a lot of drugs going on in the subculture. It acts like a magnet for kids that are having problems. In a way, this may sound crazy, but in a way that's a positive thing, because it's a way for a kid to wave a red flag and let their parents know or their family know that there are some problems going on.
One thing also, there's drugs, like you were saying, in subculture, there's drugs everywhere. Doesn't matter, there's drugs in the White House.
Actually,
I didn't say that, you said that, okay?
Yeah, I said that. And also, you know, this scene, this whole scene, everybody here, they're not, it's not so much, it's, you know, everybody's got this hang-up about sexuality and everything, or anything at all. It's just we're comfortable with what we do. And we don't have the hang-ups. These other people have the hang-ups with us.
And as for drugs and alcohol, it is a known fact that in the Gothic community, very few people drink. In the clubs in Chicago. No, I'm talking about alcohol. I'm talking about alcohol.
Alcohol and drugs and that kind of stuff. Hang on a second. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make a comment that everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but you haven't asked us one time so far what we stand for, what we believe in, what we think. You've just been looking at us and saying that we're bad.
Don't say anything,
A lot of the people...
Wait, why don't you tell us right now what you stand for, what you believe in?
I'll tell you, most of the people I know, we are against eating meat. We want to protect animals.
Wait, don't applaud everything so she can get it all out, okay? Yes, ma'am.
We all recycle. We're for the environment. We're open to anybody's opinion. You don't have to dress like this to hang out with us. We have friends that look all different ways. We'll hang out with somebody that looks like you, as long as you're not sitting there to insult us the whole time. It's very irritating to like try to talk to you when you're saying, oh, you're an idiot because we don't like, you know, if you don't like our music, that's fine. You don't have to.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel like this really is, and I hate that I'm not making light of what you do, but this is kind of like dress up all the time. This isn't a lifestyle. This is dress up, right? Like Halloween every night of the week.
Well, okay, why did you pick that tie?
Well, somebody else picked it for me. I don't know. I'm colorblind.
All right, well, I pick my own clothes. I pick my own clothes, or I make them, or I get them made. I wear what I want to wear. And
is this how you dress most of the time?
I usually wear black, yeah.
But like
if I found something in orange, I'd wear it in orange.
Are you, for all those people out there, are you a Satanist?
No.
Are you into that? I'm going to have... Oh, boo me now because I asked a question. Just because I asked a question. We'll be back right after this. We've been talking about vampires and Gothic rock. Now, what do you think? Do you think this is just a way of life and just a style, or what?
Well, I hope it's just a temporary thing, frankly, but I would like to ask a question. If any one of you were to hear on the news following one of your performances that a child, as a direct result of that performance, had gone out and committed a violent act, murder, suicide, whatever, would you feel any responsibility in that at all?
I'd feel a great deal of remorse.
I'd have to really think about it. I probably would. I probably really want to investigate it as much as possible.
And we are not the cause of anything. If a kid is screwed up enough where he's going to go out and do something just by seeing something on TV, he's got something wrong with him. That's seriously psychologically wrong with him.
Really tragic that, you know, I mean, there's a degree of influence here, and we really advocate being as well-rounded and informed as possible.
And also, you don't know what we're advocating. Have you ever read our lyrics? I mean,
so all she did was ask you a question. Yeah. She's not trying to go after. She said,
but it's a temporary thing.
But by the same token, on the opposite end of the spectrum, I was just reading in like Time or something not too long ago, a man was like molesting his children for like 12 years, quoting from them using reasons from the Bible as that it was okay. Now, that doesn't mean the Bible is the responsible. It was a sick individual misusing information that was out there, you know? And we don't want people to misuse our information either. I'm there for comedy, for entertainment, for over-the-top outrageous entertainment, but I don't want people to hurt themselves or to misuse it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this comment is directed at Jim. Is that your name? You keep saying that they're using the problems of teenagers, that's what they're using to get people. I want you to know that I'm very close to my mother. This is how I look every single day, and I go to church every Sunday and Wednesday in this exact outfit. So don't tell me that I'm troubled, I have problems, and that's why I listen to their music. I listen to their music because I think it sounds a lot better than Heavy D going, the girls love me because I'm fat.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
She may be the exception, but if you look at those troubled youngsters in the Monitor in the nightclub, they've been locked out of their house. They look very sad and miserable.
Exactly.
What maybe the exception is all.
What did their father do to them that morning? I mean, what kind of abuse have they gone through?
And what are you doing to them when they get there, except hand them a glass of blood, give them a needle to stick in their chest?
You know, that's exactly what I do, too. That's exactly what, and then I hand them a YAF button.
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed that a lot of people are wearing crosses, and I was wondering why you do that. I wear mine because I'm a Christian, and I believe that this symbolizes my hope, and that my hope is a lot greater than your hope.
A lot of people in the Gothic scene wear crosses because of the same thing. It's the same reason. They're Christians. There's a lot of people who are not Christians. A lot of people, it's just jewelry.
Okay.
It's different for everybody.
All right, we got to take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
Accommodations for guests on the Montel Williams Show are provided by the Sheraton Los Angeles Airport, the most convenient airport hotel in Los Angeles.
Are your children embarrassed because they're white collar and you're not? If so, please call Pat at the Montel Williams Show at 1-800-747-8181. That's 1-800-747-8181. And we've been talking about Gothic rock, and before I say goodbye to all of our guests, you had a comment. Let me say goodbye first, and we'll continue on. Thank you for Dookie, Sean, Vlad, Jim, Sandy. Thank you all for being here. The Gore girls, thank you also. And you had a comment, sir.
Yeah, I just had two questions. Number one, what do you think the role of parents should be? And number two, Dookie, you said earlier that you pray. I'm just wondering to whom you pray to.
I pray to a loving higher power, and I think the role of parents should be like what parents are. You should love your kids, educate your kids, listen to your kids, and treat them like human beings, back and forth.
Parents need to set limits.
Traditional.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Everybody that has a rational mind will recognize that this is a problem. If you're a parent, you can do something about it. If your kid's caught up with this, you should be a part of their lives. A sad statement by this young girl when she said, well, my mom doesn't care. I think that kind of wraps it up.
She said if you don't have children...
Well, yes, ma'am, you can
say something. My child is...
Live sex acts?
Excuse me, my child, she doesn't go to see those. Those are the over 21 shows. My child is a straight A honor student. She's an accomplished equestrian, and she's a very together kid, and I'm really proud of her, and I really resent you.